In a quaint little village, nestled between rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived a man named Julian. Julian was an ordinary fellow, with an extraordinary affliction. He was afraid of nearly everything. While the townsfolk were known for their courage, he was renowned for his timidity. It was said that Julian was so timid that even a rustling leaf could send shivers down his spine. Julian's fear was not a simple matter of being startled or timid, like many people experience at times. It ran deep into his very soul, an affliction that had been with him since childhood. Even the smallest of things could strike terror into his heart, from the gentle hum of a bumblebee to the patter of raindrops on his window. It was as if the world conspired to keep him in perpetual anxiety. Despite his fears, Julian was a kind-hearted and well-meaning man. He had a heart full of compassion and a longing for connection, but his fear held him back. He yearned to understand his fear, to conquer it, and to lead a life unburdened by the shackles of apprehension. One day, Julian found himself sitting beneath a majestic oak tree that stood at the edge of the village. The tree was ancient, its branches reaching out like gnarled arms to shelter those who sought solace beneath its embrace. As he gazed up at the swaying leaves, he pondered the roots of his fear. Why was he afraid of everything? What was the source of this constant trepidation that gripped his heart? In his contemplation, Julian began to realize that his fear was not uniform. It varied in intensity depending on the source. There was a stark contrast in how he responded to different kinds of stimuli. For instance, in the face of a person, he would often be afraid, but he could not fathom why. He pondered over this particular aspect, for it was a perplexing mystery that plagued him. Was it the uncertainty of human nature, the unpredictability of human actions, or perhaps the fear of judgment that held him in its grip? Julian couldn't be sure, but he knew he needed to explore this aspect of his fear more deeply. Thus, he resolved to confront this challenge head-on. On a warm summer evening, Julian decided to pay a visit to the village's wise elder, Fear丨was known for her wisdom and her ability to perceive the subtle nuances of the human heart. She lived in a cottage adorned with ivy, nestled on the outskirts of the village. With each step that took him closer to her abode, Julian felt his heart race. He was not only approaching a person, but he was also confronting the embodiment of wisdom and insight. As he knocked on her door, the old woman welcomed him with a warm smile that radiated kindness. Julian found himself in a cozy room, surrounded by the aroma of herbs and old books. He hesitated for a moment before finally finding his voice. "Fear," he began, his words quivering like leaves in the wind, "I have come to seek your guidance. I am afraid of people, and I don't know why. I wish to understand the root of this fear and overcome it." Fear nodded knowingly and gestured for Julian to sit. "Fear of others is a common affliction," she said gently, "and it often stems from the fear of being judged, rejected, or misunderstood. Tell me, Julian, have you ever been judged unfairly or felt misunderstood in the past?" Julian thought for a moment, his gaze fixed on the flickering candlelight. "Yes," he admitted. "There have been times when I felt judged for my timidity, and it made me withdraw even further." Fear nodded in understanding. "You see, Julian, our fears are often rooted in past experiences. It's the scars of our history that make us wary of repeating the same mistakes. To overcome your fear of people, you must first acknowledge that not everyone will judge you as you fear. People are complex, and they may surprise you with their kindness and understanding." Julian pondered these words, and over time, he began to put Eloin's advice into practice. He made an effort to connect with others in the village, to open his heart and share his fears. To his astonishment, many villagers responded with empathy and support, and he began to build bonds of friendship that slowly eroded the fear he once harbored. As he conquered this first layer of his fear, Julian realized that it was not merely the presence of people that he feared, but the judgment or rejection that might accompany it. He understood that people were not to be feared. It was the potential for negative interactions that haunted him. Emboldened by his progress, Julian set his sights on the next aspect of his fear: powerful individuals. In the village, there was a formidable figure named Sir Roland, a wealthy landowner known for his influence and resources. Julian had always been intimidated by him, and it was time to confront this fear head-on. One sunny afternoon, Julian approached Sir Roland as he walked through the village square. The very sight of the powerful man sent shivers down his spine, but he pressed on, determined to face his fear. "Sir Roland," Julian stammered, "I have always admired your success and influence, but I have been afraid to speak to you because of it. I wanted to overcome that fear and have a conversation with you." Sir Roland regarded Julian with a hint of surprise before breaking into a hearty laugh. "My dear fellow, there's no need to be afraid of me. I'm just a man like any other. Success and power are but fleeting things. It's the heart that truly matters." Julian was taken aback by Sir Roland's response. Instead of being met with disdain or arrogance, he found warmth and humility in the powerful man's words. As they talked, Julian learned that beneath the veneer of power, Sir Roland was a kind and wise individual who had faced his own fears and insecurities. In the coming weeks, Julian and Sir Roland developed an unexpected friendship. Sir Roland became a mentor to Julian, guiding him in matters of courage and leadership. Julian, in turn, helped Sir Roland rediscover the simple joys of life that had been overshadowed by his pursuits of power and wealth. Through this newfound friendship, Julian discovered that power, in and of itself, was not to be feared. It was the misuse of power or the absence of compassion that should be dreaded. As he delved deeper into understanding this layer of his fear, he felt a sense of empowerment that he had never known before. The final layer of his fear was the most challenging: to confront the fear of beautiful women. Julian knew this was not a fear of beauty itself, but a fear of inadequacy and unworthiness. He believed that a more beautiful woman would never choose him as a companion. To address this fear, Julian sought the guidance of Arya, the village's most beautiful woman. Arya was not only known for her external beauty, but for her inner grace and kindness. She was as beloved for her heart as for her appearance, and Julian saw her as the ultimate embodiment of the beauty he feared. One evening, Julian gathered his courage and approached Arya as she strolled through a field of wildflowers. Her presence was as mesmerizing as ever, and he couldn't help but feel a wave of insecurity wash over him. However, he knew he had to confront this final layer of his fear. "Arya," he began, his voice shaky but determined, "I have always admired your beauty and grace from afar, but I have been afraid to approach you. I wanted to overcome that fear and get to know the person behind the beauty." Arya smiled with a warmth that matched her reputation. "Julian, beauty is but one facet of a person. It's the heart and soul that truly matter. You are a kind and courageous man, and that is far more attractive than any external beauty. I'm touched by your bravery in facing your fear." As Julian spent more time with Arya, he discovered that she was not only beautiful, but also compassionate, intelligent, and caring. Their connection deepened, and he realized that the fear he had carried for so long was unfounded. A beautiful woman, like any other person, could be a kind and loving companion. Julian had now conquered the 3 layers of his fear of people, fear of powerful individuals, and fear of beautiful women. He had learned that fear was often a product of misconceptions, past experiences, and self-doubt. By confronting his fears head-on, he had grown stronger and wiser, and his heart had blossomed with newfound courage and understanding. As the years passed, Julian became a source of inspiration to the villagers. His journey from a man crippled by fear to a man filled with courage and compassion was a testament to the power of self-discovery and personal growth. He became a pillar of support for others struggling with their own fears, helping them find the strength to confront and conquer their inner demons. In the end, Julian realized that the most significant fear of all was the fear within one's own heart. He had learned that when you face your inner fears, you become unstoppable, unburdened by the weight of apprehension. Julian's journey was a testament to the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to transform, to confront fear, and to embrace the richness of life without hesitation. In the face of any fear, Julian had discovered the unyielding strength of the heart and the boundless possibilities that await those who dare to conquer their fears.